So let's start with just the drug warfare.
Right.
When I saw the opioid crisis, I thought of the opium wars.
Right.
And went and reread that. I hadn't read it since I was in school. Reread that, and I thought, that was the British taking opium and pushing it into China, trying to get as many people hooked, and China finally bowed.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's exactly what they're doing now. But you say you have proof.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely view it that way. Yeah, if you look at the opium wars, China went from being a pretty major power in the early 1800s to a century later, it was a weak and divided power. It was estimated that 25% of the entire population of China was hooked on opium. 25%. You can imagine the energy.
I wonder what the percentage is now here.
Yeah.
And other drugs that come from China.
Exactly. Yeah, the opioids and the painkillers people are taking. They talk about this and obsess about it all the time in China. And they view what's going on now as an opportunity for revenge on the West. Of course, the United States wasn't involved in the opium
I'd just
war,
like to remind them that was British. That was the British, not us.
Right, exactly. It was somebody, it was those guys over there. But there were actually Americans that were involved. As I point out in the book, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's grandfather,
of course, was
actually involved in the trade, the opium trade. But they do view it as warfare. And if you look at the manner in which the flow of fentanyl comes to the United States and now increasingly other drugs, you see that it's really, this is Chinese driven, that the drug cartels are the junior partners. The main operation is being done by the Chinese, and they view it as a powerful way to, frankly, kill off some of the best and brightest in the United States, because the people that are dying don't know they're taking fentanyl. You know, it's a college student who, says, I'm studying for a final, and borrows an Adderall from somebody, and it's laced with fentanyl, and they die of this overdose. So it's a very powerful, potent tool. It's intentional. They view it as intentional. There are CCP leaders that we know are involved in the fentanyl trade, and President Xi doesn't do anything about it because he likes it and thinks it's a good thing for China.
So what is provable?
Yeah. So what we know is
provable, not just provable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is all based on, leaked documents we received and Chinese military journals. Every link in the chain is controlled by China. The precursors, we all know the precursors come from China, right? They arrive in a port, the port of Manzanillo in Mexico. 90% of them arrive there.
Precursors are all the ingredients.
Yes, the ingredients that you mix together to make this brew of fentanyl. All of those precursors, 90% of them come to the port of Manzanillo in Mexico. The international terminal there is run by a Chinese company. Everybody wonders, why can't they stop this?
It's a Chinese port.
Exactly, it's a Chinese port. Once they have those precursors, they send them to a town in northern Mexico where we know, according to our Department of Homeland Security, 2,000 Chinese nationals live in this Mexican town, and they take these precursors and they create fentanyl. Now that they've got the fentanyl, they have to put it into a delivery vehicle, which are pills, right? It has to look like a Vicodin or an Adderall. You need a pill press, and you need molds, so it actually looks like a real pill, even though it's a counterfeit pill. Those are provided from China to the drug cartels in Mexico. And according, again, to the Department of Homeland Security internal documents, they provide those at cost, meaning they're not trying to price gouge or make a lot of money from the cartels. You wonder why. They now produce these pills laced with fentanyl. In order to distribute them in the United States, Glenn, they need secure communications. In order to avoid U.S. law enforcement, they use Chinese communication devices because they know the Chinese will not share those with our law enforcement. And then the final piece in the puzzle is money laundering. If you're a drug gang, you've got a lot of cash, you need to launder the money. In the days of cocaine, they used to launder that money in Latin American banks. Today, they do it in Chinese state-owned banks, and they often use Chinese students in the United States on education visas to do it. So it is a Chinese operation. The drug cartels are the junior partners.
All right.